Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardener. And again today, I'm your co-host, Mike Bailey, along with Ellen DePlacido. Ellen, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Hey, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple different ideas about vertical gardening.
Vertical gardening, okay. And the last time we touched on container gardening, which was wonderful. But now this vertical gardening, you can think about it in two different ways, okay? There's what they call a wall garden. Okay, and then there's vertical gardening. So we're going to take the wall gardening first.
Okay.
And there's a lot of information on the internet about these wall gardens. And typically what it amounts to is some kind of structure, kind of firm,
right?
That, and solid. And then what you do, you attach containers, okay, to this structure and fill them with some kind of growing material. And then you grow your plants in those containers.
Okay.
And, you can do it in a variety of different ways. But your first issue is you need a good solid structure, don't you, Ellen?
Right. A lot of people use a garage wall, okay, or a shed. Even some people use the side of their houses. I'm not sure I would recommend that, but they might like that. And then you could have a fence that might be built along a sidewalk or something that you want to put some boxes on, as long as that fence is very strong and sturdy.
Yeah, you're right, because we ourselves have made some mistakes, and we haven't done a wall garden, but we've done a trellis, and we found out that guess what? When you get a bad summer storm and you get a lot of rain and you get a lot of wind. And once these plants have filled in, okay, it's a wonderful sail. Okay, it captures all the wind, and what you don't want to do is find out. You get up in the morning and you find out that your wall that you've started and tended so well has collapsed and fallen over because of the wind. So you got to find a good firm structure. And you're right. Side of a garage, okay, a fence is a good thing if it's well placed.
Yes.
Okay, and then you can take containers, and those containers can be just about anything, right?
Right. They could be a basket. They could be a box. They could maybe even be a plastic container as long as it has the hole in the bottom and you can attach it firmly to the wall. I think one thing we want to talk about, though, Mike, is the sun.
Yes.
We mentioned the wind and rain, but
good.
You make sure that those plants aren't always in the direct sunlight because they'll dry out so fast.
Yeah, they really will, because they're up off the ground. They're exposed to the elements. They're everything, that whole container of soil is going to heat up and it'll dry out very quickly.
Right.
Okay, and if you get a little bit of breeze. Now these containers, if I can go back and just mention this, you can even go to the nursery and you can find some of these. What they have is a long plastic, sleeve, if you will, with some pockets. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have I.
Now that you mention it,
and they have plants growing in it, and you can hang those on, fences or some kind of support that you've put together.
Right.
Okay, and do it that way.
Right.
And you can do something that would mimic something like that. I mean, I've seen people take these, smaller plastic window boxes, if you will, and figure out a way of attaching them directly to a fence or to the side of a garage or something like that, and that works out really well. But Rick, our techno person here with us this morning, okay, says he's, done something like this with some of his pots, but he doesn't try to do vegetables. Trying to do vegetables in these containers can be problematic because they require so much water because you're growing fruit, and fruit is
90% water,
90%,
almost 100% water.
At least.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about that, what the requirements are. In fact, you can't just put any and every kind of a plant in there. You're certainly not going to plant a sunflower in there, are you?
No, or a corn stalk or something like that. But, maybe your greens, again, your greens, your spinach and, things like that would probably do well in that. Some small flowers.
Yes, you're right.
And then
especially some vining flowers, like nasturtiums, could do real well.
And one thing we saw this past year were strawberries that were planted in some of these boxes on a fence.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So
they're small, not heavy.
Yeah. But the growing medium, it's got to be decent.
Yeah.
Probably is going to be that light potting soil that you buy. To do anything other than that is going to create a difficult situation for you. You got to have something that's going to hold water. In fact, there's one potting soil out there that actually has some material in it to hold on to water. Mm-hmm. Okay, so to keep it from drying out. That might be a good idea to try that particular thing.
So it can be very labor intensive.
Yes, you're right.
As far as the watering and making sure that they don't dry out and the wind hasn't whipped them off of the fence.
But if you have some time and you do some good research and you do this right, it can be really beautiful, can't it?
Yes, it can.
So, approach this with a little bit of caution, okay, as far as trying to, put together one of these garden walls, if you will. Okay, they can be absolutely gorgeous. Okay, but remember, they're pretty labor intensive.
Right.
So keep that in mind. So, Ellen, I think we've used our time for today again. So how about we
Goes
sign
fast.
off? Yeah, it does go fast.
Okay. All right, Mike. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you now. Bye-bye.